Hello, beautiful beings. Welcome back to my channel. Let's talk about gut feelings. Why I don't necessarily trust gut feelings anymore. All right, so when you have that feeling, at the bottom of your stomach, and you're like, I feel like something bad is gonna happen, right? And then, true and behold, something bad happened. Do you really think that was a gut feeling telling you that something bad was going to happen? Or could it have been that because you put your energy into something bad was going to happen, it did? And I'll take it even deeper. Why did you even get that feeling to begin with? So, studying Ho'oponopono, they talk about data, right? Data / memories / limiting beliefs. We are all full of data. We are all full of memories. And we only act from two things. We act from memories or inspiration. And inspiration comes from divinity because we are divine sources. We have divinity within ourselves. And a lot of the times, divinity cannot get through because we're so filled with all of these limiting beliefs, all of these data. So let's think about the gut feeling a little bit. Could it be that the gut feeling is a trigger mechanism? It's a reaction to something that happened that triggered back an event in your past? Because we know from trauma specifically that when something strongly enough happens to us, it gets stored in the body, right? It gets stored in the body. The emotion gets stored in the body. And because your subconscious mind is basically a storage house, it's like that's where you store all of your beliefs. It keeps a hold of everything. It keeps a hold of all of that data. So when something happens in your reality, even if it's something that you cannot consciously pinpoint, but remember, our five senses are very limited. The information that we capture through our five senses is extremely limited. So we capture so much more that we're not able to filter through, right? I hope that makes sense. So when something happens in your 3D reality, even if you're unaware about it, that something could trigger a feeling within you. And it was triggered because you have a memory or data that supports what just happened on the 3D. So that gut feeling is not so much like a magical thing that, oh, this is God's way of telling you something bad is going to happen. The gut feeling, if anything, is just signaling a fear because of a limiting belief that you have. So pay attention when you get these gut feelings. Is this gut feeling based upon a limiting belief that you have? Or is it a gut feeling because, something is trying to keep you safe? I feel, in my opinion, that most gut feelings come from limiting beliefs that are being triggered by whatever is happening in your 3D. Now, your body is built, it comes built with a natural system to keep you safe, right? So, as a child, you might get close to a stove or to a candle, and as a child, you don't know, right? But if your hand gets close enough to the fire and it feels the heat, what is it going to do? It's going to come right back. Because your body has that natural, innate ability to safeguard you from basic things that could harm you. When a baby is born, one of its naturally preset fears is a fear of falling, because it knows that when it falls, it could get hurt. If you get close to an edge, fear of falling, that gut feeling will hit you hard, because that is your body's mechanism. Basic necessities, right? Basic knowledge ingrained within your DNA to keep you safe. So always when you get these feelings, I feel like there's even other stuff that is not necessarily a gut feeling. You're like, I don't know, I feel like, no. Take a step back and observe the situation and try to think about it and see where is it coming from. Because what will happen is that you will get this gut feeling, and then you're going to act upon this gut feeling. And if this feeling came from a limiting belief that was triggered, is most likely going to, the way that you're going to react is not going to be a way that is going, it's not going to be a way that is going to be good for you. Right? Something else too. I grew up with this little belief that if your eye twitched, it meant that you were going to see someone you hadn't seen before. That was a saying. So when my eye would twitch, my mom would be like, oh, that just means somebody, you're going to see someone that you haven't seen before. And then during the years that I would go see that psychic, the psychic put in my head that if my right ear twitched, that meant something bad was going to happen. And that if my left ear twitched, that meant that something good was going to happen. So you already know how desperate, nervous, and negative and worried I would get when my right eye would start twitching. That could also be said about assigning meaning to things. That was the meaning that it was assigned to that. And it's still taken me a long while to kind of like, when that eye twitches, for me not to get nervous and be like, oh, that just means I need to drink water. Because if you Google the reason why your eye twitches, it tells you that it's mostly because of dehydration. So it doesn't mean that something bad is going to happen. But once again, if it gets triggered by a limiting belief, be very careful. Think about it. The more that you know, the better. The better informed, the more that you learn and you understand how these things work, and you start to put them into practice, the more that your life will start to take a turn for the better, right? So I guess, this video has a title, but it could also be about assigning meaning to things. But I really wanted to talk about the gut feeling because that was a big thing. I used to do that. I have a gut feeling that something bad is going to happen. And for the most part, it was because it was a fear that was triggered by a limiting belief that I had. Try to always put two and two together. And that is usually going to change the way that you react to things. Because we are the creator of our reality. And even if we decide to react badly, knowing that we can still change the outcome, we have to learn how to dissociate from the chemical high that we get from arguing, from being in pain, from feeling bad. Because believe it or not, when you're in anger, in fear, it creates chemical reactions in your body. And when you go through it for a very long time, your body gets used to that chemical high, even though it doesn't feel good, but it gets used to that chemical high from those negative emotions. So it's kind of like you're relearning how to disengage from those negative feelings. And one of the ways to do that is taking a second to think about where these feelings or emotions are coming from. You get high like as if it was, as if you were doing drugs. Get a chemical high. Isn't that crazy? But yeah, that's how this works. And I hope that this video was valuable to you. As a reminder, I do offer coaching. I love to work with everyone, even though I specialize with people that have had trauma, just because I come from a trauma background. But if you have any questions, my email is in the description box below. I would love to work with you. Leave me any comments about the video. How did you like it? And let me know if there's anything you want to watch from me. And until next time, bye.